Hello friends, this is Miss Anderson here to teach some more math this week. So let's start with our at-home classroom norms. Our first one says have a positive attitude. So make sure that you are ready to learn when you watch this video with a positive attitude. The next one is be respectful. Be respectful to yourself. You're still learning these things, and to the teacher who's teaching over video. And keep trying even when it gets hard. All right, friends, for our learning target today, it says, when finding volume, I use efficient multiplication strategies. So the last video you watched was on how to find volume, and all 3 of your pages this week are on volume. Now I want to remind you of some efficient multiplication strategies that you can use when multiplying these bigger numbers. So friends, efficient means quick and accurate. So that means that it gets to the correct answer in one of the quickest ways possible. So I have 2 multiplication strategies that I want to show you how to do, and then I will send more pages home in your packet. Our first strategy for multiplying big numbers will be partial products. And you might remember this strategy as the take apart strategy, where you take apart the numbers in the ones and the tens to find an easier way to multiply them. So friends, you can see at the top of my sheet, I have length times width times height, because we still are doing volume. So I want to show you how to use this strategy for multiplying in a volume equation. Our length is 21, our width is 16, and then our height is 5. And so partial products, friends, when I'm multiplying, I can pick any numbers that I want to start with. If it's multiplication, I think I'm going to start with 21 and 5. I'm going to use a different color. So I'm starting with 21 and 5, and I'm going to multiply them. 21 times 5. So if I'm using partial products, I know that I can take apart this number, 21, to make it easier for me. So I know I can take apart 21 into 20 tens and 1 1. So, or not 20 tens, 2 tens and 1 1. So 20 times 5 and 1 times 5. When you rewrite it that way, you can tell how it's taking apart and partially finding the products. 20 times 5 we know already is 100, and 1 times 5 is 5. I add those together, and I get 105. But I'm not done. All I did was 21 times 5. I still have my 16. Now I have to multiply 105 by 16. I'm going to use a new color for that, one that you can see better. Let's do blue. Now I have 16 and 105. I'm going to rewrite those numbers down here. 105 times 16. So friends, when I'm doing partial products, I would want to take apart my 105. I can take it apart into 105. Let's do 100 times 16 first. 100 times 16, this is just like last week's when we were multiplying by powers of 10. When you multiply by 100 times 16, you shift 2 place values up. So it becomes 1600 or 1600. Now, friends, I still have my 5 times my 16. If I wanted to, I could take apart 16 and do 10 times 5 to get 50, and then I could do 6 times 5 to get 30. And put those together to get 80. Or I could think about it as 5 is half of 10. 10 times 16 is 160. Half of 160 is 80. So I know 5 times 16 is 80. And when I put my 80 and my 1,600 together, I get 1,680. So all together, my 21 times my 16 times my 5 equals 1,680 cubic units. Remember your units. You can write it like that, or units to the little third power. All right, friends, I am going to show you how to do the next strategy. So for our second strategy for multiplying when doing volume, we are going to do the standard algorithm. And this would be a strategy that your parents probably will know, or older sisters and brothers that can help you. So friends, we still have our length times our width times our height, and we use the same numbers as before, 21 times 16 times 5. So we do know the answer, but we still want to review the standard algorithm because this is a strategy that works every time when used correctly. So it is a very efficient strategy. I'm going to start, when I'm multiplying three numbers, I can start with any numbers, but to review 2-digit by 2-digit standard algorithm, we're going to start with 21 times 16. So I put my 21 times my 16 into the standard algorithm, and I'm going to use different colors to keep track of my numbers. When we do the standard algorithm, we always start with the number in the ones place on the bottom. And so we're going to start with 6 times 21. So I'm always starting on the far right. 6 times 1. 6 times 1 is 6, and we can put that down there. Now I'm going to do my 6 times my 20. Lots of people like to think this is 6 times 2. And then you put that number down there. So 6 times 2 I know is 12, but 6 times 20 is 120. So it should turn out to be a 12 down here, but this is not a 12. It's 126 because this is our 120 and our 6. So we did 6 times 1 and 6 times 20 to get 126. Now I'm going to use a new color for the second number. We're going to use green. When I start with my tens, friends, whenever I have a number in the tens place on the bottom, I know that this can always be a 0 because 10 times anything is always going to have a 0 in the ones place. So 10 times 1 is 10, and I can put that down there. Then my 10 times my 20, I know, is 200, and so I have the hundreds place right here open up, and I can put my 2 in there to do 210. So I know 10 times 1 is 10, 10 times 20 is 200. Now I have to add my partial products. When I add those up, I'm going to go back to using black, and I know 6 plus 0 is 6. 2 plus 1 is 3, and 1 plus 2 is 3. So 336. Friends, I can't stop there. I just did 21 times 16, but I still don't have the times 5. So now I have to do 336 times 5. Let's put that into standard algorithm. Now, when you're doing a 1-digit number times a 2 or 3-digit number on the top, it's easier because you only have one product down here. You won't have two like this one. So you can do 5 times 336 altogether. So let's start. I'm still going to use another color with our ones place all the way to the right. 5 times 6 is 30. Now remember, friends, when you have numbers like this, you have to carry the tens or the hundreds, and you put the ones down here. 5 times 6 is 30. 0 goes down here, and you carry the 3 tens. That is 3 tens. That's 30. 5 times 30 is 150. Plus my other 30, I could write that little dotted 0 to make it a 30, is 180. So I put my 80 down here, and then I carry my 100, and I can put those dotted zeros if I want to help me. So I know that's 100. So I just did 5 times 30. My next thing to do is 5 times 300. I know that 5 times 300 is 1,500 or 1,500 because 3 times 5 is 15. So 1,500, but I still have this 100 up here that I have to add. So 1,500 plus another 100 would get me to 1,600. And that fits perfectly in my place value for 1,680. And that would be our answer. And same answer that we got from the time before. 1,680. Oh, and I almost forgot. Remember, you're not done there. What units do we put when we are always finding the volume? We get to put cubic units. So you can put units to that third power, the little 3 above. And remember, if this was feet or miles or meters, I would put meters to the third power, or I'd put cubic meters. So make sure when you are doing your 3 pages of volume that you are always looking at what the units are. Like here it says centimeters, so you would put cubic centimeters. You're finding the equation, whatever equation you want to use, for length times width times height or base times height. And then you put your volume under here and make sure you have the units. All right, thank you, friends.